What's going on, everybody? This is Jack with the Trading Tribe, and today I have kind of a different video for you. I get asked all the time by friends, family, and other traders out there what broker I use and what broker I recommend, and kind of wanted to put just a video together explaining kind of my thought process on how I've actually picked to end up with TD Ameritrade and trade on the Thinkorswim broker. Feel free to like and subscribe to the channel for a lot more content like this. We got a lot of cool stuff coming in 2023 that'll bring a lot of value to you traders out there. And I think this is one of the first of many here. So we can actually get into it with just a website I found kind of describing some of the differences with the major futures platforms out there that I thought was interesting. And I'll share this down below as well if you're kind of in that process of figuring out, right, how to actually perform your trades and what broker you're going to go with. And there's a lot to consider here. So if you're new to my channel, right, I use Thinkorswim, which is kind of umbrellaed underneath TD Ameritrade. And this website is actually a cool website. It's going through the 10 best futures platforms specifically, and from like a cost standpoint and from a functionality standpoint, right, how they actually rank against each other. And there's a bunch of different variables to pick from here. I'm definitely not here to have you pick Thinkorswim just because I do, but I'll kind of explain how I actually made that decision and how you can make the decision as well. And there's a ton of brokers out there, obviously. It also depends what type of a trader you are. So in my instance, I'm mostly a futures trader, but I trade all sorts of stuff, right? So I swing trade stocks, I swing trade other futures. I'm not just a natural gas trader. I trade a bunch of different things. I don't really trade Forex, and I don't really trade options. Those are kind of the only two buckets of instruments that I don't trade often, but I do trade almost everything else. And that kind of brings me to the first really, really important differentiation between a lot of these brokers out there is some of them, right, are super focused, right? So Tradevate, for example, they are an awesome futures broker, but they're just a futures broker. Or as of right now, they're just a futures broker. So if you want to buy ETFs or trade options or trade Forex, right, you actually can't do that with Tradevate. So their fees might be lower than trading with, let's say, a Thinkorswim, right? But you can only use them for certain types of trades, right? And that's a really, really big thing, especially as you grow as a trader, right? You're going to see opportunity all over the place in different markets as well. So from my viewpoint, right, I've actually used Tradevate, I've used interactive brokers. I've actually jumped around to quite a few of these, and because at one point, right, I was just a futures trader. So, the fees were all that mattered, or, certain variables were all that mattered. And this broker actually made sense at a given point in time. But then, as I've evolved as a trader, I've kind of wanted a broker that supports really everything. And that's what's really brought me to Thinkorswim or Tradevate. So that's a really big thing to consider. And just from my viewpoint, that makes TD Ameritrade really hard to compete with. Because as you guys know, right, I have a ton of videos on my channel going through Thinkorswim, but you can trade anything really on Thinkorswim. Besides cryptocurrencies, it's across the board supportive of almost everything else, which is a huge win. And it just makes it really easy because all of your trading can essentially be in one place, which is really nice and is a big advantage because almost every other option here, besides E-Trade and Interactive Brokers at least, is pretty specific. I think Tasty works as options and futures, but I don't think you can do stocks on here. And then some of these plug into data feeds and stuff like that, so they are a little bit flexible, but you're really going to want to know what instruments, right, those brokers support. The next piece is definitely fees, and that's why I had our commissions up here kind of front and center, because this is definitely something you're going to want to consider, especially if you're a futures trader. On the stock side, a lot of these brokers are becoming free, which is awesome, obviously. And I think futures will work their way down as well. They kind of already are. They're getting pretty low here, as we can see with generic trade, right? That's pretty minimal. But unfortunately, right, with my pick, TD Ameritrade, they are actually one of the highest brokers in the world from a fee standpoint. So every time you get into a trade, right, with one contract, let's just say that costs you $3.50 on the front end. And then when you actually exit that position, you get charged another $3.50. So this is really double per trade. And that's all considering just one contract, right? So this is per side, per contract. So these fees can absolutely add up. Every trade, I really like to think of it as $7, and I just double this figure essentially. So that's at some point, right? Just the cost of doing business. Most brokers out there are not free. The futures market, for example, I don't think there is a free provider out there. I think there's certain prop firms that cover the fee. So if you look at like an Apex Trader funding or, a different, funding program out there, some of those cover the fees, which is pretty nice. But if you're actually trading your own capital, this is just something that unfortunately you're going to have to get used to. And this is another really, really big thing to consider when picking a broker. And then the last thing, at least from my standpoint, is the actual platform, right? Nowadays, everything from a software standpoint is getting pretty robust. So they're actually getting pretty even in this space. In the past, right, Thinkorswim was way ahead of the competition from a charting standpoint, right? Thinkorswim has been around a long time, a lot longer than a lot of those custom brokers out there. And so they've been leaps and bounds ahead of the competition for a while, just in terms of customizability and usability, and then just functionality, right? We have really everything we need as traders on this platform, and we can heavily customize it, right? I have videos on my channel going through how to do all the indicator setup and custom indicators like this one up above. And really, the potential on the platform is limitless, which was kind of my third factor when picking a broker. And I really think as traders, right, everyone's priority really needs to be the platform, because this is where you're going to be actually executing those trades and planning for the trades. And there's a lot to kind of factor in here. And I've had some bad experiences, right, with some of those other brokers, right, in terms of just getting in and out of trades and the clunkiness sometimes. So this is something to definitely look at, maybe even paper trade on different platforms to kind of get used to how the actual trading environment works, because per broker, right, it actually differs quite a bit. Obviously, you're entering and exiting trades on everything, but the actual button clicks and hotkey capabilities and stuff like that can be very, very different. And that's really it. Those are the three major buckets that I would, urge you to consider before picking a broker. They're all super, super important. So I don't think, there's any one that trumps the rest. I think those three different things should all be factored in making a decision like this. And hopefully I've helped with just why I've picked Thinkorswim. And hopefully this can help in your journey with picking a broker as well. And thanks everybody for the time. Remember to like and subscribe for more of these videos in the future. Thanks.